All right, let's talk about something that pretty much every data team is dealing with. If you're working with documents in 2026, the old ways of getting information out of them, well, they're not just slow anymore, they're a real liability. Today, we're going to break down why traditional OCR is officially a thing of the past. So let's just start with a question that, really gets to the core of it. Is your data pipeline basically a part-time job that you thought was supposed to be automated? I mean, if you've ever had to ruin a Monday morning fixing some extraction rule just because a vendor decided to change their invoice layout, yeah, you already know the answer to that one. Sooner or later, every single data team that's trying to grow hits this moment. Let's call it the scalability wall. It's that point where a system that seemed to be working just fine suddenly and totally falls apart. Look, when you're small, everything seems great. Your pipeline's handling, maybe 500 documents a day. The rules you built are working, the data's coming through, and you're thinking, hey, this is great, it's automated. But then the business does what it's supposed to do. It grows. And the volume doesn't just creep up, it explodes. All of a sudden, you're trying to push 50,000 documents a day through that same pipeline, and the whole thing just collapses. And the crazy part is, it's not your team's fault. It's the architecture. It was never, ever built for that kind of scale. So what is this broken architecture, really? Well, it's a system that's built on a super fragile foundation. Let's dig into the real culprit behind all these failures, what I call the template trap. You see, traditional OCR works on a really simple, almost mechanical principle. It finds text based on fixed coordinates on a page. The system is literally told, hey, the invoice number is always in this little box right here. So it reads what's in the box, but it has zero understanding of what it's actually reading. The second that the layout changes and that box moves, the system breaks. It's as simple as that. And this is where the big disconnect happens. A template-based system feels like you're building solid, permanent infrastructure, but how it actually behaves, it's just endless manual labor. Every single time a new document type comes in or a tiny layout gets tweaked, you need an engineer to jump in and manually create or fix a rule. It's a constant cycle. This quote just nails it. Every template you create isn't some kind of asset that's adding value. No, it's a liability. It is, quite literally, a scheduled failure. You just don't know when it's scheduled to fail. Could be tomorrow, could be next month when some vendor updates the logo, and boom, your data is wrong. Or even worse, it's just gone. Okay, so if templates are the problem, then what's the solution? Well, this brings us to a totally new way of thinking about this. A new approach that's powered by AI that can see the whole document, not just some coordinates in a box. AI OCR is a completely different beast. Instead of just mapping out coordinates on a page, it actually interprets the context, just like a human would. It understands that the number next to the word total is, the total amount, no matter where it shows up on the page. It doesn't need all these pre-built rules because it can figure out the document structure all by itself. All right, let's put them side by side. You can see it right here. From how they read the document to the maintenance nightmare to the ability to scale up, AI OCR isn't just a little bit better. It's better across every single metric that a modern data team cares about. I mean, look at the scale ceiling. For old OCR, the limit is how fast your team can build templates. For AI, it's pretty much unlimited. So, how does this technology build a system that's so smart and so resilient? Well, it all comes down to a really core concept, the power of being able to learn without being given a bunch of rules. The secret sauce here is something called zero-shot learning, and all that means is the AI model has the ability to accurately understand documents it has literally never seen before. It can see a brand new invoice format from a company you've never worked with, and it just gets it. No training required. And when you look at the day-to-day life cycle, the difference is just staggering. Onboarding a new document type with templates, that can take days of an engineer's time. With AI, it's seconds. But check out that last row. Failure mode. This is huge. Template systems fail silently. They just send bad data down your pipeline. An AI system, though, it flags things it's not sure about with a confidence score. It gives you a quality check you never, ever had before. This statement right here says it all. A new carrier format is no longer a ticket. It is a file upload. Just think about what that means for your team's day. A whole process that used to involve JIRA tickets, engineering sprints, and QA cycles is now just dragging and dropping a file. The efficiency gain is absolutely massive. Okay, so this leap in technology does something really incredible. It completely flips the financial model of data extraction on its head. Let's talk about the economics of how this works at scale. At low volumes, you might be sending documents one by one through an API call, and that's fine. But when you try to scale, that approach completely breaks down. This chart shows you the unbelievable difference. Modern batch processing lets you go from a ceiling of maybe 500 documents an hour to over 100,000. It's not even in the same league. And this table here breaks down exactly why. With that old single file method, your costs just go up in a straight line with your volume. More documents, more money. But batch processing inverts that cost curve. Because all the overhead is shared across a huge batch, the cost per document actually goes down as you scale. You get more efficient as you get bigger, which is the dream, right? So where does all this lead? Let's wrap up by just imagining what daily life is actually like for a data team once you remove that constant grinding headache of template maintenance. This is what your Monday morning could be. Seriously. No more frantic calls about a broken pipeline. Instead of spending their time monitoring for failures, your team is actually analyzing data. Instead of building fragile rules, they're generating real insights. The whole extraction process becomes what it was always supposed to be. Just invisible, reliable infrastructure that works. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important thought. The conversation really isn't about whether you can afford to adopt new technology anymore. The real question you should be asking is about the hidden tax you're already paying, in wasted engineering hours, in bad data, in missed opportunities. The question isn't if you can afford AI, it's how much has the old way already cost you.